Hi everyone, this is Travis at the Everett Library here at Queens. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use PsycINFO for research in music therapy. So if you've watched the video about using OneSearch or the library website to do so, this is going to build off of that. If you haven't watched that video yet, I would recommend it because we're going to demonstrate some of the strategies that we learned in that video. So again, we'll start at the Everett Library homepage, which is library.queens.edu. And this time I'm going to go to our databases. So you can get there from specialized databases and you can filter by subject. So since we're looking for PsycINFO, that's going to be in psychology. And it's really popular, so it's up here at the best bets. You can also search for databases by name if you know the name. So I will go to PsycINFO, and so I'm going to do basically the same search that I did in the previous video based on another student's research proposal about music therapy interventions for dental anxiety. So I will enter my search terms again, music therapy, dental anxiety. And so this is searching a narrower range of resources. The library website and OneSearch, our main search interface, searches everything that we have access to. So all the different databases that are coming from a number of different disciplines. This one is just psychology based. I'm going to look at the first result here, which actually seems pretty relevant to what I'm looking for. So I will click on that title. And this gives me a bunch of information about the article, like the authors and the journal that it's published in. But a couple things that I want to point out are keywords, which are supplied by the authors to describe what they're talking about. This is a great place to find additional search terms that you can use in your own search query, as well as subjects that are supplied by the database itself, which is a way of categorizing articles based on overall subjects, even if they don't use these specific words. So maybe they talk about stress and not anxiety. They will still be categorized under that same subject heading. Additionally, we can see the tests and measures that these researchers used in their study. And these might be good things that you can use since they're already validated in your own research proposal. And now that we've looked at some of the information about this article, we can also find the PDF full text here. Click on that and it will take us to that. And again, you can generate a citation from here by clicking on this icon and choosing the format that you need, which would be APA for this class. You can also save your work to Google Drive. You can email it to yourself or save that permalink like we talked about in the OneSearch video. So I'm going to go back to my results. So we found one result that's probably going to be pretty relevant to our research. I want to point out another one that I found toward the bottom here, which is a literature review about a bunch of different types of non-pharmaceutical interventions to reduce anxiety in patients that are undergoing medical or dental procedures. So if I click on that result, this page will give me the abstract, which mentions that 143 music experiments were included. So we definitely want to check this out. So I'm going to go to the link to full text here, which isn't just a link directly to the PDF. And I can see that this item is not available. But that might seem like something is broken here, but it's actually by design. We can't afford to subscribe to every single journal that's out there. So some of the databases that we have will cite articles that we don't have direct access to because you still want to know what's out there even if this library doesn't have access to it. So I can search Google Scholar for this with this link right here. And it looks like it's not just available for free out there. So if I come back here, I can request it through Interlibrary Loan. And if you don't know, Interlibrary Loan is a service that we provide where we can get access to articles and books from other libraries for free for you. If I go back to the article result from the database, I can still see that it includes cited references. So these are those citations that the authors of this study included in this article, which can be another great resource to use to find additional articles. I mentioned earlier using keywords and subjects that you find on the article result page. So these you can search directly. You don't have to like copy and paste this in there. If I click on this link to anxiety, that is going to take me to another search for all the articles that are filed under the subject of anxiety. I don't just want to search for anxiety. I want to search for it with patients undergoing dental treatments, with music therapy as an intervention for alleviating that. So I'm going to do something very smart, which I would highly recommend that you all do. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it into my research journal. So this is just a Word document that I'm going to use to store search terms, take notes about articles that I want to save, because it's going to make it much easier for me to organize my research later. So I've got DE anxiety, which is that subject heading for the term anxiety. And I want to search this with music therapy. So I'm going to do music therapy here. And I've done a couple things here. One, I've got the subject heading up here, and then I added and because I want to search for both of these things together. And then I've got music therapy with quotes around it. This is going to force the database to search this as a distinct phrase, music therapy. So I don't get articles that mention music somewhere and then therapy somewhere else, but they're not actually talking about music therapy. But there are other ways that we can express this idea. Another one that I've seen is music intervention. So I'm going to add that one too. And something that I came across earlier was the term healthcare setting. And I'm going to add a couple other ways of expressing that because they may not say dental anxiety. They may say patients undergoing a dental procedure or at the dentist office. There are a lot of ways of expressing the same idea. So I'm going to try to capture a lot of that. So I'm going to do DENTI with an asterisk. So that's going to get everything that starts with that root, whether it's dentist or dentist's office, as well as DENTA. So I get dental, and anything else that I'm not thinking of at the moment. And I think this is a pretty good start here. So I've got these different buckets. I've got a bucket for anxiety. I could come up with other ways of expressing that, like, or stress. And then a bucket for music therapy or music as an intervention. And a bucket for the environment that I'm talking about, a healthcare setting or the dentist office or a dental procedure. So I can build this search into PsycINFO as well. If I go to advanced search, I've got DE anxiety up here. I'm going to grab my terms from over here. Okay, so now I've got this search built into PsycINFO. So I've got 3 boxes here, and the database is only going to return results that check all of these boxes. It has to mention anxiety or stress and music therapy or the other version of that, and a healthcare setting or dentist office, something that checks that box. So I'm going to run my search again. And I've got 9 results. This first one seems pretty relevant. This one doesn't seem so relevant. If I keep getting a lot of these results, I can add a not operator to exclude things like depression or Alzheimer's patients when that's not what I'm interested in. Since I only got 9 results, that's really not a big issue, so I wouldn't worry about doing that in this situation. So 9 results is probably not enough to meet all of your research needs. And that's okay. It just means that we're going to need to try these strategies on different platforms like OneSearch or Google Scholar, which we'll talk about later. Or we may need to expand this search, find additional synonyms to add in. We can do that as many times as we need. This really demonstrates, again, that searching is an iterative process. You're not going to get it totally right the first time, and that's okay. But if you do hit a wall, I am happy to help you with your research to figure out a better way of searching for these ideas, or maybe figuring out if it's time to reevaluate your topic, whether it needs to be expanded, to make sure that we're coming up with adequate research to support what you're doing. To recap, we have run a basic search in PsycINFO. We've talked about using our results to find additional keywords and subject headings. We've talked about what to do if you can't access an article directly. And then we've talked about how searching is an iterative process. Again, I'm Travis with the library. Thank you for joining me for this video, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.